The moment you speak your feelings just to be understood, you've already lost the game of respect. You're bone tired of being ignored in meetings and replaying arguments in your head at midnight, aren't you? You think your words are your power, but they're actually the leaks in your fortress that invite people to walk all over you. But what if the very thing you think is protecting you is actually the reason you are carrying a weight that doesn't belong to you? It's time to stop explaining yourself and start building your silence. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share a forgotten ritual that will cool your emotional fire and turn your presence into an unshakable force of nature. However, before you can master this force, you must understand the invisible burden that 99% of people carry without realizing it, a burden that is slowly crushing your reputation. I will show you exactly what that is in a moment. Peace is coming. Let's begin. Ethan lived in a world where the loudest voices always won, or so he thought. He spent his days in glass-walled offices, drowning in a sea of constant, jagged noise, where every attempt to contribute was stepped on like fallen leaves in autumn. The sting of being ignored wasn't a sharp pain, but a dull, heavy ache in his chest. He felt like a ghost haunting his own life. What Ethan didn't know was that he was painstakingly crafting his own cage, one reactive brick at a time, by carrying stones that were never his to hold. Whenever he felt misunderstood, he'd scramble to clarify, believing that more words would fix his image. Instead, he was trading his inner peace for a "well done" from people who barely saw him. This created a mental hangover of replaying arguments until 4 a.m. But here is the chilling part. There is a specific biological reason why your brain keeps you trapped in this cycle of seeking approval, and unless you break this specific loop of the judge, no amount of logic will ever set you free. Ethan was starving for a strength he couldn't name until he followed a whisper about a master who lived by the furnace. He was about to discover a secret about silence that would change his presence forever. But first, he had to face the heat. Ethan arrived at the glass studio seeking a formula or a tactic to make people finally listen to him in the boardroom. Instead, he was met by a wall of shimmering heat and the roar of a furnace that stole his breath. Master Elian didn't offer a lecture. He offered a heavy iron rod and a command: stand still and observe. For hours, Ethan had to endure the mental heat, the screaming urge to crack a joke, ask a question, or explain his presence. He realized that his words had always been a shield, and for the first time in his life, he was standing naked without the armor of his excuses. He was learning the anchor hold, a ritual of gripping reality and refusing to let anxiety escape through trembling lips. But why is this silence so terrifying for most people? There is a hidden threshold of power that you only cross when the urge to speak finally dies. And what Ethan saw emerging from the fire next was something that defied everything he knew about strength. It wasn't just glass. It was a physical manifestation of the one thing you are currently losing every time you react. Master Elian pulled a glowing orb from the furnace, a pulsating orange heart of molten glass that seemed to defy gravity. As he handed the iron pipe to Ethan, the abstract lesson of silence suddenly became a physical battle for survival. The heat was an aggressive living presence, stinging his eyes and making his hands tremble. "This bubble is your respect, Ethan," Elian whispered. "But here is the trap. Most people spend their entire lives dropping their glass because they can't handle the heat of a single insult or a dismissive glance." Every time Ethan's mind drifted to a past slight, the glass began to sag and deform. It was a mirror of his own unquiet heart. You see, the moment you react in anger or fear, the masterpiece of your character melts away. True power isn't in the striking. It's in the absolute refusal to be moved by the fire. But there is a final, even more difficult stage to this ritual, a moment of letting go that either solidifies your power or shatters everything you've built. Ethan was about to face it, and it's the exact same moment where most people fail in their real-life arguments. The pain in Ethan's arms had reached a crescendo, a fire that matched the furnace's roar. But in that moment of absolute agony, a strange realization washed over him. The glass only wobbled when his mind raced with what if and how long. It wasn't the heat deforming the glass. It was the frequency of his own fear. As he entered a state of emotional silence, a miracle occurred. The distorted bubble rounded itself into a perfect glowing sphere. By surrendering his need to control the fire, he had finally gained total mastery over it. Elian whispered the final truth. "Your silence is your fortress. Your reaction is your surrender." Ethan felt it, a physical shield, a transparent armor against a world that could no longer touch him. To carry this peace into your own life, you must master the fortress breath ritual. Inhale, hold, exhale, and wait in the silence, building a wall of light around your heart. This is how you stop being a target and become a sun. But as Ethan turned to leave, he saw a new door at the back of the studio, one that led deeper into the art of the fortress. Because while this ritual cools the fire, there are certain heavy stones from your past and toxic people in your present that require a different kind of strength to drop, a strength that most people spend a lifetime looking for and never find. I am about to show you what was behind that door. Ethan didn't return to his old life to win arguments. He returned to transcend them. He finally understood that the loudest person in the room is often the weakest, while the man who can hold a glowing sun in his hands without flinching is the one who truly leads. But as you watch this, you might be wondering, how do I keep this stillness when the world keeps throwing stones at me? Many of the stories you hear here aren't just stories. They reflect the invisible weight you may be carrying every day, the expectations of a demanding boss, the guilt of a family member, or the judgment of a stranger. If you're tired of holding pain, responsibility, and guilt that were never yours, I created a guide for the journey beyond the furnace. I call it The Weight of Stones That Are Not Yours. This is the secret door Ethan discovered. It's for those who want to let go, set boundaries, and live with more lightness. When you stop giving your energy to those who seek to provoke you, you become invincible. To ensure your fortress is truly unbreakable, I am also including 2 essential supplements. Bonus 1, learning to let go of stones that are not yours. A deep dive into the ancestral wisdom of releasing emotional anchors that keep you replaying arguments at midnight. Bonus 2, when saying no is an act of self-love. The definitive manual on how to protect your molten glass, your respect, without ever needing to raise your voice. Don't let tonight be another night of replaying mental hangovers until dawn. Close the vault on your reactions and watch how the world begins to treat you with a new, heavy kind of gravity. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. Your fortress is waiting to be built.